Hello, I'm going to talk about all the different places I've traveled in the United States. I've seen about 16 states and I've seen many miles of each of those states. I've never been out of the United States and or have I been on an airplane, but I've seen a lot of sights to remember that I would like to share with you all. Up until I was 15, I had never been more than like 150 miles from home, and I never really seen anything cool. Oklahoma is boring. This would be my first time out of the States, and I was excited to see something new like the big city. So it was finally the day, and we were on the long drive to California. The drive wasn't bad, even though we were in the car for like 27 hours. I've seen many cool things. Going through Texas and New Mexico were pretty much just dirt and rocks for hundreds of miles. Driving through New Mexico, driving through New Mexico, it started to storm. We were finally in California. There was so much to do and see. I remember walking around the city for hours just looking at all the cool stuff. Riding the trolley was fun. The roads all go up and downhill, and the trolley goes really fast when uphill and really slow downhill. The pier had a bunch of shops too, and it was my first time seeing the ocean. And of course, I had to eat in and out. The ride home was cool. We decided to take a different way home and we drove through Utah. Seeing the salt flats were cool. They looked like really big mirrors, and we ended up staying a night in Denver, Colorado. When we got to the hotel, everyone was dressed weird, and that's when I found out Comic Con was going on at that time. Seeing the crazy costumes were really cool. After Colorado, we were on our way home. I was sad to be going back home. After seeing the big city and getting to do fun stuff and eat new places every day, I was boring being back in Oklahoma doing the same stuff every day, eating the same three places. I was ready to be back on vacation somewhere amazing, and that's exactly what we did the next summer. In the summer of 2016, I took my first trip to Florida. At first, I didn't know we were going to be staying on the beach, but when I found that out, I was thrilled. It would be my first time actually swimming in the ocean. I was so blessed to be able to go because I've always wanted to go to Florida. It really was a dream come true. On our way there, since we drove, we decided to stop in Louisiana. Even though we were only there for a few hours, it was cool to see the city of Shreveport and to see some of the stuff I've never seen before. Other than that, the drive-through was pretty boring, mostly swamps and fields, and I really wanted to see an alligator but never ended up seeing any. After the 18-hour drive, we were finally in Florida. It was so cool seeing the restaurants and all the hotels right up against the beach. I really enjoyed being around the ocean. To this day, Destin was my favorite trip I've been on. We ate at this place called Burrito del Sol, and it was literally the greatest tacos ever. I highly recommend it if you ever go to Destin. After we stayed in Destin, we drove to the other side of Florida to stay in Jacksonville. My sister's husband, Levi, has a brother that lives in Jacksonville, and we stayed with them for a few days. We decided to go to Universal Studios in Orlando, which was about a 2 hour drive from Jacksonville. Universal is every kid's dream. Harry Potter World was amazing. After we left Florida and on our way home, we decided to stay a night in Nashville. We were not there for long. We were not there for very long, but we did eat at the famous Hattie B's, and it was like the greatest chicken I've ever ate. And I definitely recommend it if you're ever in Nashville. The drive through Tennessee was nice seeing. Seeing the lakes with the mountains was cool. The weather was really nice too. After that, I went home and didn't take another trip for a while. One day, we decided to take a small trip to Austin, Texas, and it was only about 4 hours away from my house, so not too bad of a drive. Austin was really nice and it was a really hip area. We ate at Gordo's and they were really good. There was a ton of people everywhere walking around. It would be nice to live in Austin someday. After Austin, we took a trip to San Antonio. Our hotel was right on the river, and it was cool to walk on the river and be able to see the Alamo set up. Since it was right after St. Patrick's Day, the river was really green. We also ate at this really weird pizza place, as you can see in the picture, but it ended up being the best pizza I've ever eaten. Another small trip I've taken is to Kansas City, about 4 hours away from my house. It was my first time going to IKEA, which is a furniture store. Ever since then, I've bought all my furniture in my room from that place. We also went to Kansas City Science City, and that was honestly mind-blowing. It's one of my favorite places to this day. In 2018, my family and my girlfriend took another trip to Destin, Florida. I was really excited to be able to take my girlfriend to such a nice place. I want to travel all over the world with her. This was my favorite trip I've been on, and it was my favorite place with my favorite people, so it made it a really fun experience. I can't wait to go back and swim in the beach again. After Destin, we drove to Jacksonville to visit Levi's brother. We stayed with them for a few days before going home. While with them, we decided to go to Volcano Bay Water Park in Orlando, Florida. That was really fun. Chelsea and I got to ride all the rides together, and it was very fun to do with her. My favorite part was in the riding in the rapid river. There are still many places I want to go. All throughout life, I plan on traveling all around the world and getting to go to every weird place that I might never get to see again. Traveling is something that I love to do and plan on doing for the rest of my life. I would love to visit Honolulu, Hawaii. I love being around the beach and being in the tropical weather. It would be cool to see the islands. I also want to go snorkeling and see some cool aquatic life. I wouldn't mind living in Hawaii. I love being right by the ocean and being in that environment. Another place I would like to visit is New York City. I've always wanted to stand in Times Square and look around at all the massive buildings. It would also be amazing to see the Statue of Liberty and being able to visit Central Park. There are so many unique restaurants and shops downtown, and it would be cool to go to some of those crazy restaurants and see some famous people. Alaska is another place that I would love to go see. The wildlife and the natural scenery would be cool to see. It would be cool to take a cruise to Alaska one day. Seeing the mountains and seeing a wild bear would be cool. There's so many places that I want to visit around the world, and someday I hope that I can say I went to all those places. Thank you.